Hey, we're right on time.
We're right on time. I promise I didn't have to text Gary link. A couple minutes after, thought he might have forgotten about me. I wasn't sure, but here we are.
It's always good to check. You never know if I'm just dead of a stroke or something like that. So it's always good to just check in and make sure I'm still alive at my age. But yeah, it's my fault because Dan Vasc is releasing a video today, and I have to bust my ass to get my counter video ready by the end of the year. And that's what I've been in this room since noon. So
top 5 woke disasters of 2023.
That's right, baby.
There you go.
It was a hard list.
Everybody loves top 5 lists.
Yeah, it was just difficult to get it down to 5, because there was so many. We even forgot obvious stuff, right? And I had to put it in there. But you know what's not going to be on our list, right? Reacher
season 2. Holy shit. Yeah. I definitely think not woke and not a disaster. It's the opposite of disaster. We found out yesterday that Reacher season 2's just the first 3 episodes are the biggest thing on Prime Video this year. Just the first 3 episodes.
Just 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So that weekly thing, I think, is going to work out just fine for them. And now, people like us and people like you will be talking about Reacher for over a month, which is better than talking about it for a couple weeks. And you can always binge it later. And this guarantees your show, especially if it's good, sticks around. I saw Nerd Cookies tweeting about this. And if you go and do the research, just a lot of you guys watch a lot. I watch more streaming than I watch film, right? And I like prestige. When they're good, I prefer a prestige movie series over a film. I do, because it's more story, it's more to get involved in. Being a comic fan, I like serialized storytelling. And what's been happening is most of these shows take 2 years in between seasons, and it ends up that they have shortened 3rd and 4th seasons, even if they're good by the end, and they're canceled. And if that's not sustainable at all in any way, shape, or form, especially now that they're talking about House of the Dragon's going to start being filmed back to back. Even Rings of Power, they're talking about filming it back to back to get it out sooner, because they know even if a show is popular, with a very, very few rare exceptions, they lose audience if they take too long. This one took 2 years.
Yeah, so the first season released at binge February of 2022. So basically we had 22 months, in between these things. So yeah. Well, I don't think they expected it to be as big as it was.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, they were like, wow, we put out something good. That's crazy.
They're like, this is what a hit looks like.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see how it stands up against things like The Boys. Obviously it's bigger than Gen V. If it's the biggest thing this year with 3 episodes, it's bigger than Gen V.
It was bigger. So the only 2 things that were bigger than it in 2022, which is I think when the boys came out in 2022.
Yeah.
So was Rings of Power was bigger. And there's one other not the it's
was it Terminal is probably.
No, I don't think it was. But it was the 3rd biggest thing on Prime Video in 2022. And shockingly so at that. And yeah, when you look at the millions of minutes watched, it was insane because it all dropped at the same time.
What is Gen V? It's a Boys spinoff with a diverse woman in the lead. So that's going to lead right into The Boys season 4, which is coming out soon, and I will completely miss because I'm done with that show.
Yeah, I'm checked out on it.
Yeah, that's lame.
I didn't like season 2, what they did, the political shit, and then for some people that were trying to say that it wasn't that, then in season 3 they're just hey, we know a lot of you retards didn't know we were just shitting all over you, so we're gonna make it really clear,
right?
That's what the showrunner said.
Yes,
actually what he said.
Eric Kripke, TDS, man. TDS. So this was A Night at the Symphony. That's the name of this episode. And it's just one. We're just reviewing one episode here. And they are looking into I just watched this. I'm blanking. What's the name of the company now?
New Line or New Age?
New Age.
New Age tech, which they broke into at the very end of the last episode, right? They broke in there to get the information. And not only did they steal a bunch of information and paperwork and stuff like that to try to figure out, how they're, what's going on, what their fellow members of the 110th were looking into when they died. And they find out that Swan, one of the members, actually worked there and is standing right next to Langston, the big bad in this story so far. And so they're all sitting around a diner, basically trying to figure out what this means, trying to figure out what it means that Swan was working with them, try to decipher a lot of the information they got. And they realize that they pulled from the emails, and Neely recognizes that Swan was, talking to basically everybody in the security detail. But there were a couple emails between him and this woman who they met when they tried to visit New Age. And it seemed like it was a coded message. They couldn't quite figure it out. We've been talking a lot. The first stream we did, we talked about how much it was derived straight from the book. This email is straight from the book. Now, it was between different people, but the words, the Jimi Hendrix album, the song and everything, the references, it's directly from that. And it was, what is it, Little Wing?
Yep.
Yeah, they're referencing Little Wing, which is some kind of codename project. So that's what this episode's about, trying to figure that out.
And Reacher is just totally against Swan possibly being crooked. And even though the team is like, listen, we have to look into that, even if we don't want it to be true. You could tell, like, even Neely calls him out later and saying, you don't want this to be true because you're going to feel responsible for everybody's death, and that's stupid. But that's obviously what's going on. Again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know what's coming up. I have no idea if he's crooked or not, but they do flashback. They show, what's her, oh God, I got to look at her name. Dixon. I want the nice tits. Yes. I mean, they both got them, but
I was going to say, like, I don't find Neely super attractive, but she wore a dress in this one. She looked fucking, she's pretty good.
Pretty good. Well, she's, Dixon's putting sugar in her coffee, and it causes a little flashback to go back to the team. And we see that Swan, which they're obviously setting up for something later too. They do major drugs.
They use sugar as like, they use her pouring sugar as a flashback to them testing heroin.
It goes right. It was a great transition, by the way.
Yeah.
Really good. And it's like 99% pure. So the way they're setting things, it feels like this is going to play somehow into it later. But they have that. Who's the bald guy? Who's the head of their?
I do not know. Like the colonel, whoever's in charge. I don't know. I don't remember him necessarily from the book. He seems like a different character, but it's the second episode he's been in now, kind of the person overseeing the team. So I think they make some references to somebody who that may or may not be in the book, but I'm not sure as of right now. Yeah,
he comes in and says, "Hey team, good job. You got 48 bricks of heroin that you just took off the streets. Well done. I'm going to go back to my pregnant wife." And they're like, "Well, we only have 47 bricks." Yeah, after he leaves, they go, "We only have 47 bricks." I'm like, "Oh shit."
In investigations, details matter.
Details matter, especially missing a brick of heroin, which would have an insane value on the street, by the way. Freaking insane. So they go and check Swan's car, and he's like, "Oh, it fell out under the seat." He went and looked too. So it was Neely, Reacher, and Swan went and checked his car in this flashback, and they found that extra brick, which is leading us to believe that Swan might be crooked, because did it fall under the seat, or was he trying to stash one? But
they're doing a good job of making you have to doubt, making you have to question that, of making Reacher deal with that. And it is one of his guys, one of the people that he thought could never do that. Did they actually turn? So
did that? Yeah. Well, I don't. So,
well, I know from the book that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to keep it that way. They have made some changes. They have introduced some characters. Like they've done some stuff, that is, while they're adapting it, I think doing a really good job of doing that. They're also doing things out of order to make, even if you are familiar with it, to make you really question and have you in a little bit of suspense.
Yep. Enoch Beaumont, abuser of Streamlabs, for $5 says, "Glad you guys were late. It gave me time to finish episode. PS, I think I noticed a clue. I won't say anything because of potential spoilers." I'd have to go back. I'm going to watch it again. I watched the first 3 episodes again. I'm going to watch this again. It's really good on a rewatch, by the way. So they Neely and Dixon go and search. Was it the lady's house that they went to?
It was Marlo or someone.
Marla, and who works at New Age, because now like everybody's in question. You know, that's how the episode starts. It's like they have 1,000 employees. This whole thing could be crooked. Where do we start? And Reacher's like, fucking one at a time. And
Reacher has all the time in the world, right? Like he, as a person, as someone who just drifts around, he has all the time in the world to, you know, get revenge and get vengeance. So.
Yeah. He doesn't have to go to like soccer games or appointments or pay him.
Yeah. Not like all of his other friends. And there's even like a scene between him and O'Donnell a little bit later this episode where O'Donnell's like, his like kids calling him because he got in a fight with his brother and like all this shit. And like O'Donnell's trying to like balance being a dad, but still like be cool at the same time, which works, I think.
I think it totally works. My kid, I don't know, if they ever did fight, I don't think they've ever fought, but if my kids fought, I'd just ask who won. That's what mom would ask too, to be fair. Smooth the DJ, wonderful Nerdrotic, wonderful person, has been a member for 9 months. Alan trained 8 months, 5 days a week, and ate a lot to look like that. A damn kaiju. Yeah, he's called a kaiju in the episode. Yeah, by the way, he's not on some weird diet. I saw him on some talk show going, I eat regular.
Well, he's doing testosterone, like.
Yeah. But he eats ice cream and fucking hot dogs and shit like that. And he's also probably taking lots of steroids and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, like he admitted he's on like like severe testosterone shit to do it, which everybody is. Even it's beyond the fact, like it's beyond just actors and shit that do this to get ready for superhero roles. Like it's kind of scary the amount of like dudes in their mid to late 20s who are already doing some form of like TRT just to get jacked to the gym. I think that's going to probably fuck some of those people's bodies up for forever.
Yeah, especially that young.
It's why you don't need it. So
there's nothing wrong with like, you know, I haven't done it, but like when you get a little older, get a little testosterone treatments when it starts fading, you know. Joe Rogan is jacked on that stuff. And we love Joe. Really enjoying the season so far. Been a while since I've been this happy with the show. Really enjoyed throwback to season 1. Oh yeah, King's Advisors, $5. Dude, I first time in a long time I went, oh, when I did the meme. I went,
how did we get excited about that? That's the thing about this series. It's like it's so simple. It's
a little simple.
It's so simple, but if we can talk about that, obviously spoilers. Anybody's watching the spoilers. We're gonna get to it, but you see Finley comes back for about 5 minutes, and that was a surprise to me because we've never seen Finley before in any other Reacher novel that I'm aware of. So
I wonder, like they're on the East Coast now. He went back to Boston. That's where the symphony was, right? They went up to Boston. Is that what they did, or are they still in New York? I can't remember, but I think he was in Boston. Not sure. And yeah, it was good to see him because they had to go. So they go searched Marla's house, who was the woman who helped them in the first 3 episodes look into the company, and she bugged out. She bugged out with her daughter. She grabbed a toothpaste, got the fuck out, and left behind like about a third of a bag full of just hundies, full of money. So she didn't take her bug out bag, which is awfully strange. Nothing there. So they have to go. O'Donnell comes up with a plan, basically, they want to find out, I think it's a senator, right? Senator who signed off on what could possibly be like a 9-figure deal for New Age that was approved through Congress. And O'Donnell mentions what he does for a living, which is like leverage, basically.
He's a PI that finds dirt on people and makes sure that people don't spill secrets and, stuff like that. So, yeah.
And so he's all, hey, don't go to the senator. He's not going to know shit. He just goes out there and gets the votes. Get to the guy who actually wrote the bill, who has no security. So they follow him, and Dixon shakes her tit. They all get dressed up nice. Dixon shakes her tits at him. They end up doing some coke in a car, and they get busted by a cop, and that cop is Finley.
Yeah, so like to set the whole thing up, like they're like, okay, we can't get to a senator, right? We obviously can't get to him, but their aides, like he doesn't even know anything anyway. Their aides and the people surrounding them are the ones that know everything about these deals. They're the ones that make things happen, but they don't have security around them constantly. That's the people we need to get to. he finds a guy who's vulnerable, who's got DUIs, who's like obviously like had drug issues, who's like got in places just because his parents are like, you know, rich or whatever. You're like, this is the guy we target. And him and Reacher get all dressed up in nice suits. You know, they're looking good. Reacher has some jokes about, well, and from the book too, it's like, hey, if I have to carry around a shirt, eventually I'm going to need a suitcase. If I have a suitcase, eventually I'm going to need like a car. Eventually I'm going to need a closet. Eventually I'm going to need a house. I don't want that.
Yeah.
So they have a good back and forth. And then Neely walks out, like looking completely done up, you know, tits out and everything. And she's like, don't say a fucking word. And, you know, O'Donnell's like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And then Dixon walks out, looks even hotter. And, you know, Reacher's like jaws on the floor. Hey, they allow women to be feminine in this. It's crazy. I know it's wild for that to happen. Neely's not super feminine, right? Not at all. But Dixon definitely is. But they were both looking good for this episode. She goes, seduces him. And as they're doing that, important, Reacher and O'Donnell are in the coffee shop trying to decipher all of those numbers. And as good as Dixon is with numbers, Reacher's really good with them too. And he finally finds a correlation based on something the waitress says. Hey, it's a tally. It's like a percentage. It's supposed to happen this many times, but it only happened this many times. And he finds out that out of the 2,100 plus times something was supposed to happen, only, you know, it only happened around 1,500 times or 14 something. But the difference is 650. That brings it back to the numbers we saw in earlier episodes, you know, 650 times 100K. So you're talking about $65 million. They still don't know what it is, but $65 million is on the line for this thing that was supposed to happen and didn't 650 times. And O'Donnell's like, hey, are you sure you can trust this guy that you're bringing into this thing? He's like, I trust him with my life. If I could have brought him in the 101st or 110th, I would have. And that she sets him up in the car. Immediately, as soon as he takes a hit of cocaine, slap badge on the wall, and it's Finley. And that was awesome. I wasn't expecting it just because it's not, you know, it can't happen every season. It can't be something like that, but I liked it.
I thought it was really cool, and it worked because it was, you know, obviously he's a lieutenant now. Retirement didn't suit him, and he helped with the interrogation with O'Donnell and Reacher, who were posing as quote unquote feds, with this senator's aide, and he spelled like it, but it was like it wasn't anything super nefarious or out of the ordinary, other than what the thing actually is, right? Mm-hmm. So he's like, hey, no, I hid something in a bill. We do it a million times. You know, it's no big deal. And he says it's a missile defense thing, but and I don't even know if this is possible in the real. Well, it probably is by now. It's a missile defense system that is impervious to countermeasures. So you'll fire a missile from the ground at a jet, and it'll look like the jet, you know, down the missile will come back up and then blow up the jet.
Right. It's basically, they explain it that it's something that started as a weapons defense system. They were able to kind of retool and could be used as a weapon, basically, that is going to be impervious to any countermeasures, that you're not going to be able to shoot this missile down. You're not going to be able to use chaff. You're not going to be able to do anything other than just get fucking hit by it. And that is very similar to from the book. In the book, it happened at a different time. The book, Bad Luck and Trouble, was written probably in like 2007 or 2008, somewhere around there. Back then, it was like, it basically just went up really fucking high and then came down because the description in the book was, well, pretty much all, you know, flight-based radar systems are focused down, and what's coming to you from the bottom, surface-to-air missiles coming to you from the ground and stuff like that. You're not really too worried about what could be up on top of you. Then it came directly down and fucking, you know, blew you up from there. So that is, we're talking a missile, a surface-to-air launch missile. That's what Little Wing was in the book. That's what it is here. But certainly not necessarily some like super, they were into some crazy shit. It's like, okay, New Age is working on some sort of, you know, missile system for the United States government.
Yep. So it's not out of the ordinary, but you can see the great potential. The other thing, AM has a little scene. He's the bad guy in this. We still don't know. I still don't know what his connection is. Well, I do. He's working for New Age in some way, but obviously some kind of hitman, and he finds an eye doctor who looks just fucking like him. So he goes and kills the guy. It's a cool little scene where he just freaking gets him in the neck, and he's all, "You're a doctor. You understand what's going on right now. Pretty soon, you're not going to be able to see me. Pretty soon, you're not going to be able to hear me. And now you're dead."
Yeah, he's a good, like, just super cold-blooded piece of shit,
Yep.
He's smart. And we got a hint of that because he saw that guy, this, like, plastic surgeon, at the end of last episode after he got busted kind of he knew there were people waiting for him. So I was kind of wondering to myself, is he actually going to try to get a new face? That's not going to work because need time to heal. But the guy does look a lot like him. So that's really what he wanted. He wanted a new face like that.
Yep. In a certain way, he said. And then there's another scene at the airport, him talking about how much he loves comic books and giving it to a little girl. A super violent comic book, by the way. Did you see the comic book he was reading?
What was it?
It's just some generic fake comic book, but in the comic book, there's a guy with a crowbar beating the shit out of somebody in the head, and he hands it to like a 3-year-old girl. Just like
with a terrible fucking haircut. That Chinese girl had a terrible haircut.
God, I know.
It was bad.
That's an X-ray girl had those haircuts when she was little, and she wasn't allowed out of her room unless she got A+ on everything. Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, she probably shouldn't watch the show. She'll get PTSD. But yeah, so it ends up, they get the information they need. And it just brings us to the end, this fight at the end, which is against a bunch of bikers. It's fucking awesome, dude.
It was pretty cool. So they essentially decide, hey, our next plan is me and O'Donnell are going to shake up kind of I don't know if he said NSA or whoever, but some national security. I don't know if they said NSA specifically or not. We're gonna stick here in DC because I might know some people because my brother worked with them. Dixon and Neely are going to head to Colorado because that's where their manufacturing plant is for these missiles, or at least for the tech involved with it. So that's where they're headed. And as they're getting out of their van, they're getting ready to change. These freaking bikers surround them. They take their guns because they didn't want any noise. Fight ensues. Reacher doesn't wait for the biker gang guy to stop talking. He just fucking headbutts him, and it's on. And O'Donnell's got his brass knuckles, which he's fucking kicking ass with those. Neely and Dixon hold their own. You know what I mean? They hold their own. They end up taking out a couple guys, but both of them do get into a little bit of trouble at times. Reacher is just a fucking bull in a china shop. Reacher snaps this dude's legs and his arms. Some guy comes at him riding on a motorcycle, fucking with a chain, swinging around a chain. And Reacher just sticks his arm up and gets the chain wrapped around him, fucking yanks him off. He fucking clotheslines some dude as he's driving a motorcycle. It was fucking brutal, man.
It was a massacre. There were so many compound fractures. The violence at the end was awesome. It was good. So somebody asked, what the fuck is Gary reviewing something like this? For that exact reason. It's brutally violent. It's not far off. It's a very procedural Mission Impossible-ish kind of thing. Way more grounded than Mission Impossible, but it's an unrealistic premise of this giant man who walks the earth like Kang from Kung Fu and solves mysteries and gets revenge. It's fucking rad. I love it.
I'd say the most unrealistic part about Reacher is just how often he gets himself into trouble, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Trouble always seems to find me.
And that guy's going to the gym. It's not like he doesn't have a gym membership, okay?
He just fucking ends up having to lift so many dead bodies throughout the course of everything that he stays in shape. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, and you see Dixon basically fighting this guy with a knife. She's getting overpowered, right?
She is.
And she ends up having to pull off her stiletto heel and get him in the eye, right? That's how she
eye out.
I think Neely and her take out one person each.
Yeah.
And it's another thing so far I like about it because obviously these people are competent. They were in a special unit in the military, but they're also not just going to be taking out dudes like Reacher is. Like that's not
No.
realistic.
Who-
And so far we haven't seen anything like that.
No, we haven't. And I mean, you can hold your own against one person, especially if you get the lighter guy. And it's a biker gang. So, I mean, that was a healthy biker gang. There was a lot of tweakers in there. It was like the healthiest biker gang I've ever seen. But
Yeah. And then at the end, he grabs his either the phone's ringing or he dials. I don't remember which one happened, to be honest. But
he dials back. He gets the guys.
He dial?
I don't know if everybody's dead, but most everybody's dead. Some guys are dead for sure. Like the girl, like Dixon killed a guy. She fucking took his knife and killed him. So yeah, he searches the phone and calls the guy back, and it's Robert Patrick. It's fucking rad. I love that Robert Patrick's in this.
And he basically says, "Hey, well, the job's done, but maybe not how you wanted it to. All your guys are fucking dead, and I'm coming for you, basically. I know what's going on. $65 million. Is that what this is about?" And he says, "Well, maybe we've been approaching this the wrong way, Reacher. $65 million. We can basically give you anything you want. So tell me, what do you want?" And it's like a zoom in on Reacher. He's like, "I want to throw you out of a helicopter." Right?
I know.
Because that's what happened to his buddies. That's how his buddies have died. And Reacher's pretty straight up. A little cheesy, but I think it works well for his character.
It totally worked. And it was good episode. I can't wait to watch. I'm going to go back and watch like all 4 back to back again. And because I love the show. I love good TV. We don't get enough of it. So I'm going to watch the show. There's actually a lot of good stuff out there right now that I've started. Blue-Eyed Samurai. Pretty awesome.
Blue-Eyed Samurai, huh?
Blue-Eyed Samurai. It's anime on Netflix. It's pretty fucking awesome, dude. It's pretty awesome. I'm liking it so far. And then we got to watch shit because right after this, you have to watch Aquaman, and
I'm headed to Aquaman like very quickly, actually.
Yeah, we're not going to be. This is going to be a short one. We'll usually go a little longer, like an hour. Today, not so much because Rebel Moon. I'm going to see Aquaman tomorrow morning. And then we're going to talk about it on Friday Night Tights with Mahler and Disparu. We also got big fucking news today. You see that article from Variety Hollywood Report? I don't know the difference. Where they just like it straight up says Hollywood says goodbye to their worst year in a generation.
Yeah,
so good.
It's true. A lot of people like Variety did their Disney's biggest stories of 2023, and it was all negative.
It was all negative.
It was all negative.
Did you see the New York Times article where it's basically an obituary for Disney? I'll send you the mirror because you have to
send
subscribe.
It to me.
I'll send it to you. And then Evie magazine comes out with the best headline of the day. Disney regrets woke, afraid it might be damaging their brand. So I'm like, I'm loving the end of the year so far.
Yeah,
it's been so good.
Overall, this episode was. I do think this show is like you really want more. Like I think they do a good job of each episode, and in a way that really wants to make you start the next one, which is probably why that first season did so well.
It's totally bingeable. Like this is a thing you can burn through. Like when Melissa and I rewatched season 1, we did it in. I mean, we could have done it in a night. We just got tired. We couldn't keep our eyes open, but we were willing to do it. So we did it in like a day, 24 hours. We watched the whole thing. And it was great. And that was the 3rd time I've gone through it. So I'm diving into the books now, dude. I've already bought all the books. I've got, there's like some vacuum sealed version you can find on Amazon or something. I think it's like $28. I got them all. So I'm going to fucking read them all now. I'm hooked. But they're quick reads and they're done.
They are, and they're again, they're audiences are hungry for simple stories, right?
Yeah.
Simple stories with morals and morality that 99% of people can get behind, right? That's the thing. Yes. It's not. Of course, there's going to be stuff here and there, or references to this or that. But when you're talking about the morality of what's involved and the good versus evil aspect, we've seen a lot of gray shit, and that can be really good. It can be really good, this like morally gray area. But there's also people that are striving for a little bit more traditional storytelling where you don't have really that gray. It's pretty clear cut. Good people are good, bad people are bad. Good guys want to fight the bad guys. And that's what it's all about. And Reacher doesn't really care about the law, but he cares about right and wrong. So,
Yeah. Remember what he got in trouble for? Well, supposedly he got dropped in the military in season 1. And this is a thing that's based on a very real thing. As a matter of fact, we had a couple of military guys go to fucking jail for murder because I can't remember if they're Marines or Army, Ryan. They caught a bunch of dudes buggering kids over in the Middle East, and they fucking killed them, as they should have. And they got locked up, which is fucked up. But that shit happened. Like, so that's what he killed, and he killed those guys as he should. That's what Reacher does. And that, that's the kind of part people can get behind. It's like, all right, well, Hollywood calling out child buggery. It's rare, but up against the wall. Against the wall.
Yeah, it's like Reacher is, hey, if it's wrong, I'm willing to end your life because I think you're a bad person.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. All right, this is a short one. We're gonna wrap it up so Ryan can go. I want to thank everyone who left super chat and donation. I want to thank everybody in the chat. This is like old days, man. I used to do this all the time. Just do like a little half-hour review and jump off. But we'll do a little longer next week. So we'll be back next week, same time, hopefully a little early. If you're a member, I'm going to try to hook this up quick if I can. If you're a member, we're going to do a watch party for Rebel Moon because I haven't been in my office long enough. So, and it starts in like 15 minutes. So you can check it out there over on Nerdrotic. So thanks, Modrotics. Thanks everybody to be here. Go and enjoy Reacher. If you're on the fence, go watch it all. You'll love the shit out of it.
Go watch the first season and then start catching up with us. I bet if you give it a chance, you're gonna watch the entire fucking first season and all 4 episodes before we do this next week. If you give it a chance, yeah.
Ryan's links are in the description. Where can they find you, Ryan?
Ryan Kennel, RK Outpost. I don't know. Geeks and Gamers, Sports Wars, all those good places, and on Friday Night Sites.
Excellent. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see all you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.